Okay, so this is the start of making my petticoat for the Claudia interview with vampire dress. Over here I have my front, which will have 2 dots in at the top, and over here is my back piece, because I'll be wearing a little pad to make a little bustle, so I need a little bit extra at the top to go over the bustle. Okay, as I said earlier, I'm going to be putting darts in the front panel, just to give it some extra shape around the front. And I've put 2 marks here and here where they need to be, and this is how you do it. Okay, fold your skirt in half and get your halfway point. I've already done this and creased it, but you could pop a pin there. You then open it out. And then from your halfway point, the edge, you then mark halfway between that centre and there. And I've just marked it with a pencil. And I've done the same the other side. My darts are going to be about 9 centimetres long. Next you want to sew your dart, and you do this by folding the fabric on the 2 dots. That was the first dot we made at the top, and the second dot is where you want the length of your dart to finish. You then sew a line. Sorry, it's a little bit difficult in this light. You then sew a line from the top all the way to the edge where your final dot was here. So that sort of angle. And then when you finish sewing your dart, you don't go forwards and backwards at the end. You run it off and you leave some tails, and you just do a knot after. Just tie a little knot with your tails to finish it off, and do the same for the other side as well. Okay, next you want to sew up the side seams on your skirt right away from top to bottom. Hopefully this isn't rocket science for you. There we go. Okay, I'm just making a waistband to go around the top of my petticoat. I've made this about 6 centimetres wide, and you need to make it as long as whatever the measurement is around the top of your skirt. So starting at one seam on your skirt, take a tape measure and measure all the way around the top. And then what I've done for now is, on top of that measurement, I've added 5 centimetres. Okay, now that the waistband is sewn on, put it under the iron and put a nice crease into the waistband. And then along the centre front, find the middle, centre back, and find the middle. And then 2 centimetres each side of that, do a buttonhole. And now we've got a piece of cotton tape, and I want to make a measurement to just past the side seam, and it's got to be long enough to go past the first buttonhole and just leave a little bit extra, and I shall need 2 of these. On the side seam here, I'm just going to sew this tape down to anchor it so it doesn't move. Right, turn the waistband inwards and feel where the tape is, and just put a few pins along just to hold it up out of the way. Then when you come to the the back centre, pull your tape through your buttonhole and then just secure it in place for now. Turn your waistband over and then pin it down, and then what we're going to do then is use the sewing machine just to sew the waistband on
at the seam line. Right, you've now sewn your waistband down through both thicknesses like that, and then just at the end of your tape put a knot in the end to help stop it from fraying.
Okay, this is what it looks like so far. A flat front at the waistband, then round the back it just pulls in from here to here. Next we've got a line to neaten the bottom of the skirt, so it's just touching the floor at the moment, and I'll be adding some lace. Okay, I'm now sewing my lace onto the bottom of my petticoat. The lace is 4 inches wide. I've started off with a couple of inches left over here and started sewing here, then sewn all the way around to the other side and stopped about here and left this gap. My gap I've left is about 4 inches.
What we're going to do now is work out how much lace we've got to use to find the centre. So measure from where your stitches are, and it's on my ruler it's 106. Yours will be different. So write down 106, then we're going to share that by 2 to halve that number, which is 53 millimeters. And on each side from the stitch backwards you're going to measure 53 millimeters, or whatever your half measurement was. Then from this last stitch backwards to 53, or whatever your last measurement was. What we're going to do now is turn your lace backwards like so, and we're going to create a seam. So line up that mark with that mark like so, and then where your mark is, put a pin there just to hold it. Right, you're going to take it back to the sewing machine and you're going to sew a seam there, and then you can cut off any excess from the other side, and then we'll continue in a moment. Okay, we've now sewn our seam, and this really needs to be opened out and pressed first, but I'm just showing you for demonstration purposes. Now you can turn it the right way back, lay it onto your petticoat, and now you can finish sewing the last bit on the sewing machine.